Let's get started with our first news story. Kamaru Usman absolutely rips Belal Muhammad for the comments he's been making ahead of his highly anticipated title fight against Leon Edwards at UFC 304. Now, in the wake of securing his long-awaited title shot, Belal Muhammad hasn't exactly been playing nice. In fact, he's been taking some pretty direct verbal shots at his fellow fighters. Most recently, when Jack Della Maddalena predicted a first-round finish in their upcoming clash this May, Muhammad didn't hold back. Instead of brushing it off, he took a dig at JDM, joking about donating money to an alleged fundraiser his team was running, just to help them afford the trip to Montreal. That comment quickly gained traction online, but it turns out it was all based on a complete misunderstanding. There actually was no fundraiser. The whole thing was blown out of proportion. On the latest episode of the Pound for Pound podcast, hosted by Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo, the two former champions took a deep dive into the situation, and they weren't exactly kind when it came to Muhammad's recent behavior. Usman explained, "Belal Muhammad's out here saying, 'Hey man, I was about to fundraise for you, but instead I'm putting you on Spirit Airlines.'" Then he added with a chuckle, "For those who've never flown Spirit, it's basically the Greyhound of the sky." Cejudo couldn't help but jump in, suggesting that maybe Muhammad knows what it's like to fly Spirit himself. But then the tone shifted as they began questioning whether Muhammad's recent comments are starting to cross a line, especially for someone who's been so critical of Colby Covington in the past. Usman didn't hold back, saying, "Look, for someone who talks so much about not liking Colby for how he got to the top, for the things he says and how he acts, Belal, you're honestly not far off right now. The implication, Muhammad might be turning into the very type of fighter he claims to despise." That hypocrisy hasn't gone unnoticed by fans either. Many have pointed out the similarities between Belal's recent trash talk and the kind of antics Covington is known for. So far, Belal Muhammad hasn't publicly responded to Usman's criticism, but considering the bad blood brewing between these two, it wouldn't be surprising to see Muhammad fire back sooner rather than later, especially if Usman's name gets brought up again during fight week. Stay tuned, this rivalry might just be getting started. Moving on to another big news update, Daniel Cormier has some sharp words for Conor McGregor as he openly criticizes the former UFC champ for his plans to run for president. That's right, Conor McGregor recently made headlines after announcing that he intends to step away from the octagon and transition into a career in politics, but it looks like his political journey may not be getting off to the start he hoped for. According to a new poll conducted by the Irish Times, out of 949 elected councillors across Ireland, only 188 were surveyed, and the results showed that there is very little support for McGregor within Ireland's political system. And that's not all. It's not just the politicians. The MMA community doesn't seem to be buying into McGregor's political ambitions either. On the latest episode of Good Guy Bad Guy with Chael Sonnen, Daniel Cormier didn't hold anything back. He spoke honestly and directly, offering a harsh reality check to the former double champ. Cormier said, "The Conor McGregor of 2015, 2016, 2017, the one that went 8 rounds with Floyd Mayweather, that McGregor was in a full-on rush to greatness. And if that guy is gone, then it's over." Cormier wasn't done. He continued, "Now he wants to be a politician? Really? Look, I think people in Ireland don't even like him anymore. Everyone I talk to says the same thing. I can't stand this dude." Cormier's point was clear. McGregor's popularity, especially in his home country, has taken a serious hit, and it's hard to ignore the facts. Late last year, McGregor was dropped by his own whiskey brand, Proper No. 12. His beverages were pulled from store shelves, and in the wake of his November legal case, hundreds of Irish citizens marched in protest against him. That's not exactly the public support you need when you're thinking about entering the world of politics. So while McGregor might feel confident about his platform or believe he has the charisma to lead, the reality is he's facing an uphill battle. With a shaky political reputation, a shrinking fan base at home, and critics like Daniel Cormier calling him out, his path to public office looks anything but smooth. Only time will tell if McGregor can turn it around, or if this bold political move ends up being another headline that fizzles out. Let's talk about another hot story making the rounds. Merab is not happy with Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley recently had some surprising things to say about top contender Merab Dvalishvili. On a recent episode of the Timbo Sugar Show, O'Malley reflected on his rivalry with Merab, and believe it or not, he actually had some positive things to say. Sean said, "Merab's a funny dude. If we weren't in this situation, I think we'd actually get along, but right now, he doesn't like me. He probably hates me, and honestly, I get it. He smoked me, but that fight changed me. I'll be forever grateful to Merab because he made me a better fighter and a better human being." That's a pretty humble and unexpected statement from Sugar Sean, but not everyone's buying it, and that includes Merab himself. Shortly after that clip made the rounds online, Merab took to social media and posted a sharp response. He wrote, "Cut it out, go back to talking trash. I need to be mad about you again." So clearly Merab's not interested in being buddies anytime soon, and who can blame him? After all, this isn't a friendship tour, it's a fight. The two are now set to face off again in what's shaping up to be a massive rematch at UFC 316. Fans are already buzzing about the matchup, and considering how intense their rivalry is becoming, this fight might end up being one of the most anticipated showdowns of the year. Both men have a lot on the line. O'Malley wants to solidify his legacy and prove that his rise to the top wasn't just hype. Meanwhile, Merab is hungry for the belt and eager to prove that he's the real force to beat at 135 pounds. So the question is, who do you think takes it? Will Sean O'Malley back up his words and come out stronger than ever? Or will Merab Dvalishvili remind everyone exactly why he's considered one of the most dangerous men in the division? Let us know your prediction down in the comments, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Now on to another major update. Islam Makhachev might vacate his title instead of fighting Ilia Topuria. Things are getting interesting in the lightweight division, and this news could shake everything up. Ever since Ilia Topuria announced that he's planning to vacate the featherweight belt and make the move to 155, fans and analysts have been wondering, will he get an immediate title shot against Islam Makhachev? There's been a lot of speculation, and now even some talk that Islam might not stick around at lightweight if Topuria becomes the next in line. On the MMA Hour, Ariel Helwani floated the idea that Makhachev may be waiting to see what happens in the upcoming welterweight clash between Belal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena this May. Why? Because if JDM pulls off the win, Islam might see it as the perfect moment to move up to 170 and chase a second belt. Meanwhile, Josh Thompson, speaking on his podcast with Big John McCarthy, dropped a bold prediction. I wouldn't be surprised if Islam vacates the lightweight title and lets Arman Tsarukyan and another contender fight for it. He might just bounce and go to 170. He didn't stop there. Josh added, Islam just doesn't want that stigma anymore. Let's be real. God forbid he loses at 155. Then it's over. He loses his chance to move up. I mean, the guy's even been talking about going to 185. That's a huge leap. But with Makhachev's skill set, it's not totally out of the question. Henry Cejudo also chimed in with his own take, saying it might not even be Islam's decision to make. I remember talking to Khabib, and he said it's not fair for Ilia to just skip the line. Islam gave Volk multiple shots, and now Ilia wants one without even proving himself? He added, I don't think Islam's gonna call this. Khabib might just step in and say no. He's got to fight the #1 contender first. With names like Arman Tsarukyan, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, and Dustin Poirier all circling the top of the division, this is shaping up to be a messy situation, and a major decision could be coming soon. Who do you want to see Islam fight next? Should he defend against Ilia, or move up and chase double champ status? And speaking of Islam Makhachev, we've got a major update on what could be next for the reigning lightweight champ. According to multiple sources, Islam is planning to wait before making any decisions on his next opponent. He's holding out until the result of the upcoming welterweight title fight between Belal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena, which goes down on May 10th at UFC 304. And if JDM pulls off the win, Makhachev is reportedly seriously considering a move up to 170 pounds to challenge for the belt. One reporter tweeted the following, "Sources told me Makhachev is planted. He'll wait until May 10th before making a decision on his next fight." That lines up perfectly with what Ariel Helwani has been saying, that Islam is playing the long game here, and that likely means we won't get any official announcement about a fight with Ilia Topuria, or any lightweight contender, until after UFC 304. But here's the downside, if Islam chooses to wait that long, it's highly unlikely that he'll be available to fight during International Fight Week in July. Unless he jumps into a matchup on short notice, we probably won't see him back in the octagon until late summer or early fall. Now, let's talk opponents. If Belal Muhammad wins, there's a strong chance Islam stays at lightweight. In that case, the question becomes, who's next? Michael Bisping and Daniel Cormier both believe it'll be Justin Gaethje, who's been patiently waiting for another shot at UFC gold. But don't count out Arman Tsarukyan, the current #1 contender, who just scored a huge win and has been vocal about wanting a rematch with Islam. And let's not forget about Charles Oliveira, ranked #2, who's also campaigning for a title shot. Charles and Islam were supposed to run it back last year before an injury pulled Oliveira out. That matchup still has plenty of heat behind it. Oh, and there's Ilia Topuria, the newly crowned featherweight champ, who claims that Dana White promised him a title shot at lightweight. So what's going to happen? Will Islam defend his belt at 1555? Will he go for double champ status at 170? Or will Khabib and the team steer him toward the toughest contender in the division? Let us know what you think should happen. Drop your takes in the comments. Now let's shift gears to Michael Chandler. And according to him, he's coming to finish Paddy Pimblett in spectacular fashion. Chandler just dropped an update on his training camp as he gears up for a 5-round war against Paddy Pimblett in the co-main event of UFC 314, going down on April 12th in Miami, Florida. And let's be clear, Chandler isn't just looking to win, he's coming to steal the show. Speaking to fans on social media, Chandler said, "Today is the second to last sparring session of camp. These last 2 sessions are like dress rehearsals, headgear on, no injuries, just clean work running the game plan." He went deeper, giving fans a powerful look into the mindset that's brought him this far. "I wish you guys could understand what it feels like on the other side of your comfort zone," he said. "If you push yourself, really push yourself, life gets easier." He continued, "If life feels hard, it's probably because you're breaking promises to yourself, not living up to the best version of you. You keep doing things you know you shouldn't. You keep saying things you wish you wouldn't." Chandler compared training camp to life itself. "A fight camp is just like life. When I get to the other side of the pain, and when I've done all the work, I get to enjoy it. There's less pressure. There's more joy. I'm moving off of muscle memory, not force." He admitted the process wasn't easy. "I haven't wanted to train 2 or 3 times a day for the past 8 weeks, but I needed to, and now I'm my best, happiest, healthiest, hardest to kill." Then Chandler dropped the bomb. "Fight night, April 12th, UFC 314, Miami, Florida. I'm coming for the performance of the night, knockout of the night, and I've got some sick call-outs ready to go. God bless. See you at the top." This is shaping up to be the biggest spotlight of Paddy Pimblett's career, and if Chandler has his way, it might also be the most painful. One thing's for sure, Chandler is locked in, mentally sharp, and physically dialed. He's not coming to play games. Will Paddy rise to the challenge, or will Chandler break him under the lights in Miami? Let us know your prediction down in the comments. Let's move on to another news update. Ilia Topuria responds to Belal Muhammad, and now we've got the full beef explained. Belal Muhammad has made it very clear he has no respect for Ilia Topuria. While the two have never actually been scheduled to fight, Belal has taken multiple shots at the former featherweight champion in recent months, and he's not holding back. From the way he talks, it's obvious that Belal doesn't like him, doesn't respect him, and doesn't think he belongs anywhere near the top of the lightweight division. It all started when Topuria boldly claimed that he would finish Islam Makhachev if they ever fought. That was the moment the tension really started to build, and of course that comment didn't sit well with Belal, who happens to be one of Islam's closest training partners. Belal immediately dismissed Ilia's confidence, saying the Georgian fighter was getting way ahead of himself and would get absolutely smashed if he ever stepped up to 155. Things got even more intense when Ilia took a shot at Khabib Nurmagomedov. He claimed that if they had been in the same era, he would have beaten him. That statement was the final straw for Belal, who fired back right away. He called Topuria delusional and accused him of disrespecting legends who paved the way for fighters like him. But Belal didn't stop there. Anytime Ilia's name is mentioned, he's quick to jump in and downplay his achievements. He says Ilia hasn't been tested against strong wrestlers, and that all this hype will be exposed once he enters the lightweight division. And now, with Ilia officially moving up to 155, this feud is only going to get hotter. In fact, during one of his recent interviews, Belal even openly challenged Ilia to a street fight. That's right, no octagon, no gloves, just raw, real violence to see who the real tough guy is. Well, Ilia finally responded. During a recent Instagram Q&A with his Georgian supporters, he addressed Belal's street fight challenge. Ilia said, "Belal challenged me to a street fight. When you're a professional fighter and another professional is challenging you to a street fight, you already know their level of intelligence is very low. This beef is real, the tension is rising, and if these two ever get booked to fight, it's gonna be explosive." Finally, let's talk about a fight that still got people buzzing, and this time, it's Javier Mendez weighing in on what really went wrong for Umar Nurmagomedov in his fight against Merab Dvalishvili. According to Coach Mendez, it all came down to a mistake in the final round, and it might have cost Umar the biggest win of his career. Mendez said, "When I saw Umar after the fight, I looked at his hand, and this finger was bent all the way down. Broken, my eyes got wide." Despite the injury, Mendez believes Umar still had a real chance to win, until that 5th round. "I told him straight up, look, Umar, I felt you won 3 out of the 5 rounds. Maybe I'm biased, but in that 5th round, you showboated. You acted like the victor when you were tired, and that's what cost you." According to Mendez, it wasn't about damage. It wasn't about clean shots or even control. It was all about presence. And in that moment, Merab had it. When it comes to presence, Merab owned that round. He showed the judges he was the winner. He was moving forward, showing energy. He wasn't backing down, and the judges picked up on that. But he was quick to clarify. When we talk damage ? Umar did more. He landed better shots, more significant strikes. If we're scoring based on effectiveness, Umar edged it. Still, Mendez said, optics played a huge role. The energy, the pressure, the body language, that's what swung the fight. Umar couldn't stop Merab from controlling the perception of that round, and that's why the judges gave it to Merab. It's a tough pill to swallow, especially when so many fans and analysts were split down the middle. Some saw Merab's forward pressure and volume. Others saw Umar's composure, precision, and technical edge. So here's the question. Was the fight stolen by optics? Or did Merab earn it? Was it the broken hand, the showboating, or did Merab simply do what champions do? Find a way to win. Let us know what you think down in the comments. That's all for today. Make sure to like, comment, and stay tuned for more big updates from the fight world.